Yeah, today we will learn using the IS and the LM framework to analyze the effects of expansionary fiscal policy. The 2008 financial crisis was preceded by 7 to 8 years of calm and optimism, periods of happiness, which is normally known as the Great Moderation. The financial crisis led to severe downturn in economic activities, with large decline in aggregate demand. We know aggregate demand, consumption part, investment, and the government spending. All these variables suffered under the financial crisis. UK GDP per capita fell, as we can see here. In the crisis years, we have UK GDP per capita declining, and we have recessions shown as the shaded areas, as we can see here for the United States of America. US real GDP declined in the recession periods. US investment declined in the recession periods. US unemployment rate increased in the recession periods. We have real GDP growth in 2009, and we can see that some economies experience negative real GDP growth, as demonstrated by the shaded regions with brown and red colors, and some other countries also experience positive but low growth rates around these periods, demonstrated by the green color. Now, to sum all these, let's borrow or use the words of Her Majesty the Queen when the Queen visited London School of Economics and Political Science. She questioned, did no one see this coming? Many economists and economic forecasters could not predict the crisis. There was a change in the belief in automatic stabilizers to the need to use fiscal stimulus packages to mitigate the effects of the crisis. For instance, in October 2008, US Congress appropriated $700 billion for the Treasury to use to save the financial sector. Barack Obama passed $787 billion stimulus bill in 2009. There was a huge increase in government spending. So we are going to use the IS and the LM framework to explain the effects of this expansionary fiscal policy. The IS curve shows equilibrium in the goods markets, and the LM curve shows equilibrium in the money market. And in the section, we have the equilibrium interest rate, and we have the equilibrium income. We have the fiscal policy variables, G and T. With expansionary fiscal policies, we have increase in government spending and or reduction in tax. And we also have the monetary policy variable, M. We start with higher government purchases. This will shift the IS curve from IS1 to IS2. And the shift is by the magnitude of the spending multiplier multiplied by the increase in government purchases or change in government expenditure. And this will cause output and income to increase. So there will be increase represented by this magnitude 1. With the increase in income, money demand is going to increase. And with the increase in money demand, interest rate is going to also increase. And with the increase in interest rate, there will be reduction in investment. So there is a crowding out effect here. So the final increase in Y will be smaller than the original increase in Y, represented by 1. So 3, which is Y2 minus Y1, is less than 1, as we see here. Let's look at lower tax. When there is cut in tax, consumers save part of the reduction in tax, depending on the marginal propensity to save, which is 1 minus the marginal propensity to consume. So the initial boost in spending is smaller for change in tax than for an equal change in gain. And with the tax, the IS curve shaped by the tax multiplier multiplied by the cut in tax or change in tax. And we know that the tax multiplier is less than the spending multiplier. So the effects on interest rate and Y are smaller for change in T than for an equal change in G. And that is what we can see here. So the final effect here, Y2 minus Y1, which is 2, is less than 1, which was the original response. Now we put monetary and fiscal policy together as an interaction. The monetary policy variable, money supply, and fiscal policy variable, government expenditure and tax are exogenous. Monetary policy makers may adjust money supply in response to the expansionary fiscal policy. And this will change the original policy effects. Now we look at a situation where the Federal Reserve, the central bank, will respond to the decision by Congress on expenditure. Suppose Congress increases government expenditure, then the possible central bank responses are to hold M constant, to hold R constant, or to hold Y constant. In each case, the effect of the change in J are different. Now we start by holding money supply constant, then the expansionary fiscal policy increasing, moving the IS from IS1 to IS2 will increase output and increase interest rates. As we can see, changing Y will be Y2 minus Y1, changing R will be R2 minus R1. Now response 2, if the central bank want to hold interest rate constant, let's look at what will happen now. So we have our interest rate here and we have our income. So we start with our IS1, then we have our LM1. So with the fiscal policy, we move from IS1 to IS2, expansionary fiscal policy. So we have our initial interest rate R1 and we have our Y1 here. Good. So we start with point A here. Now we are here with expansionary fiscal policy. We have Y2 and we have R2 here. So we move from point A to point B. Now, if the central bank wants to hold the interest rate constant, then central bank has to increase money supply. So central bank will move here, from here to here. So we move to LM2. So we move to the point C. So now we have our Y3 and we have our R3, which is coinciding with R1. So what has happened is that change in Y is Y3 minus Y1, and change in interest rate is going to be 0. So if the central bank wants to hold interest rate constant, then the central bank has to increase money supply when there is an expansionary fiscal policy, which is moving the IS curve from IS1 to IS2. Then there should be increase in money supply here, as we can see. Good. Now we look at the situation of holding Y constant. If the central bank wants to hold Y constant, let's look at what then happens. So the same way we have our R and we have our Y, we start from IS1, then we have our LN1 here. So we move, we have R1, and we have our Y1. Now with the expansionary fiscal policy, we move to IS2 here. So we now move from here to here. So we have our R2 and we have our Y2 here. Now, if the central bank wants to maintain Y1, then the central bank has to reduce money supply. So we come here, we have our LN2. So when this happens, our new equilibrium, we move from A to B. Now we are at point C here. And at this point, we have our R3 here. But we have our Y3 coinciding with Y1, which means the change in Y is 0, and the change in interest rate is R3 minus R1. The implication is that if the central bank wants to maintain the same level of output or income, then the central bank has to reduce money supply. So we have to put both fiscal and monetary policies together to move the economy forward. And this is what I have demonstrated with this animal. We put everything together to make this animal